Gonna put on this, yeah. Okay, oh, stay strong. Okay, one side. Okay, hold on, I'm gonna take a break.
Yep, take a break.
Okay. Okay.
Hervé was in France. He was driving along a road, and he sees this farmer wearing the jacket. So he pulled over, and he says, "Hey, where'd you get that jacket?" And he kind of looked at it like, what do you want to know about this old jacket? He says, "Well, I found it in my farm over there." This guy was in his early 90s. He says, "I found it in my farm over there. During the war, the U.S. troops were coming through, and they left it in my farmhouse." So he says, "Yeah, I only wear it to tend to my cows when it either rains or snows." So he hardly ever wore it, but thankfully, he brought it inside, which kind of preserved the jacket. Otherwise, if he left it in the barn, it'd probably fallen apart. And so he says, "Well, do you think I can buy it?" And he says, "Sure." So he offered him $15. The farmer accepted, and that's kind of how we got the jacket by chance. Yeah. So when Hervé got home, he kind of examined the jacket a little more, and he saw a Japanese name on the back, and so he got really excited because he knew that jacket belonged to a 442 veteran. And so he was excited, but then he kind of came up with a bunch of dead ends trying to figure out who the jacket belonged to.
Oh, it does fit you.
It does fit him.
Hervé, when he came to Seattle, he knew that we had the museum, so he brought a bunch of items that he's found out in the French mountainsides where the 442nd had been fighting. One of the items he brought back was a jacket that we believe is Albert's. And so this jacket, Hervé couldn't find any information on the veteran. So he hunted and hunted, couldn't find anything, so he brought it to Seattle, gave it to us for our museum. It sat in there for many years, well, since about 2015 or so. We did a bunch of background on the jacket. I have a friend that's a district attorney who's really good at finding things. He couldn't find any information on him. We had a new guy join the Vets Hall, Craig Dordery, and he started digging into it. He had some friends at the records department, and he thought, well, I'll give it a try and see what I can come up with. And they hunted and hunted and hunted, and they looked up your guys' newspaper, the Star-Bulletin, and they found a wedding announcement from Albert from 1952, I believe it was, when he got married. So we had a name. And so from there, we started researching. And it kind of went dead for a while, for about a year. And my wife and I and my son at the last minute decided to come here. And so I reopened, hey, let's try and find Albert again. So we started hunting and hunting, and Greg started calling the family, and one thing led to another, and here we are. We found the needle in the haystack.
Okay.
So a lot of times when I do this research on items that are donated to us, it usually ends up in a dead end. The vet has passed away, or I can't find him, or so this is really a miracle chance that we found him.